during those times when people are like, oh, this is not going to get better. This is the worst thing ever. Like my life is going to be miserable. I never had that thought. Like even when I was in the lowest point of my life, I knew, I was like, this is not it. Like I'm not destined for this.
Isn't it liberating?
Yes.
Being able to be yourself. Like
yes.
with the person that you want to be with.
And to be comfortable.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Doesn't that feel great?
It's refreshing. Like you could let go. Because, you know, in past relationships or people you were dating, it's like, oh, I have to be this person because they don't like who I am. Or
maybe they say, oh, she's too much.
She's too much.
But it's like, no, I'm just not enough for her.
Exactly.
I have to pass the blame.
I'm not asking for too much. I'm just asking the wrong person.
Exactly.
And so that is also a way that you could kind of put that, right? So yeah, it's you have to forgive the people who said that, hey, you were too much. I was too much.
I do forgive them. Yeah. If I wouldn't have forgiven them, I feel like I wouldn't have written the book. You know, because I would still be holding that in me of like, you did me wrong, this and that. You think I was too much. But I think through the book, I actually forgave them. And most importantly, forgave myself. Because I feel like I was ashamed of the things that I had done. I didn't think I was the ideal person. I was like, what is wrong with me? But I had to forgive myself because like I said, like I was just doing the best that I could. Even if I did something wrong, I was just trying my best.
It's closure. For you, because you had mentioned that about your book when you had written your book. That wasn't that a little bit of closure for you?
Amazing.
It was closure because at the end of the day, you have, and I'm a firm believer of because people are like, oh, I gotta find closure. You have to make your own closure.
Agreed.
Because other people can't give you that
closure with yourself.
With yourself, I did the best I could at the time with what I had. I have to forgive myself that they weren't enough, but at the same time, sometimes I wasn't enough either.
Exactly.
I wasn't the best person. I wasn't the greatest boyfriend. Maybe there were times where you weren't the greatest girlfriend either. And you have to forgive yourself for trying. Sometimes maybe not trying hard enough, but nevertheless you tried. Yeah. And that is part of closure. Like I did the best I could at the time with what I know, what I know. Or
accepting that you could have done more as well.
That you could have done more.
Because then someone may not want to accept that, so they keep passing the blame to somebody else. Such as them, someone saying you're too much. It's like, no, I'm not too much. Maybe for you, I am.
Well, what I used to, sorry to interrupt you. What I used to ask in the past for people to do for me now comes naturally to my partner. I don't really have to ask my partner to do anything. Most of the time, it just comes natural to him just because it's an act of service. It's an act of love, right?
How he was raised in his beliefs.
Exactly. So that's why I do believe that when you get closer to yourself, you attract somebody who's just not like you, but stands in the same ground as you. Because we still have differences. Obviously, every human does. But now I'm able to communicate with, I'm like, hey, I don't expect you to, but I would like if you did this because it does make me feel more comfortable. Blah, 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 blah. It's not a task for him. He simply is like, that will make you feel better. I will do it. Not because I'm telling him to, just because we're in a relationship. You know, it's about making sacrifices and understanding that sometimes what means nothing to me means the world to you.
Yeah. I think having that acceptance to yourself, it allows you to not entertain those that aren't willing to commit to you. So those who said that you're too much before, you would have been like, why? But now you're like, I'm just not gonna waste my time with this guy. This guy he just can't handle. All right, fine, whatever. Yeah. You know, like now you don't need to entertain or wonder why. How am I too much? Why am I too much? That's not like he's just not ready. That person's not enough for you. So why stress over someone who's not gonna have any influence in you?
They're not on your same
exactly. So being able to find someone who actually understands you and is willing to accept you, to you it gives you more power because now it's like, wow, I have this freedom and I feel liberated to be myself. And now that's the type of energy you're attracting, like the vibration you had said earlier. Like we have the same. That's what you attracted because of your security, because of who you were.
But okay, I do want to say something. It's not like you get out of these toxic relationships and immediately go into a healthy one and everything gets solved. It's actually the most challenging part because at least for me, I've had such traumatic experiences and I don't live in the past, but it is what I lived with. So since this is my first healthy relationship, everything is new to me. Like it's new to me for me to express myself and not turn into an argument. It's new to me to be given something without asking. Sometimes in the past, I used to think that I had to be a bitch to get what I wanted. And in reality, I don't have to do that now, but sometimes I do catch myself doing it because it's like an old bad habit. And it's like, why am I doing this? Like, this is not even who I am anymore. It's just an old habit. Like I don't need to be this person for my current partner to be who I need him to be. I could just communicate. I don't have to do any mixed signals, when you're like, I'm just gonna be a bitch so that he can understand that I'm pissed. You know what I mean?
Healthy relationships are not found; they're built, they're created.
Exactly.
You don't just wind up in a healthy relationship. Yeah, it's hard. It takes. It takes.
Agreed.
You healthy people build healthy relationships, and broken people build broken relationships. That is true, but it takes a lot of work. It's not easy.
A lot of work.
And,
yes.
you know, like even for me now, like this is the healthiest relationship I've ever been in, and I'm so happy. But it just didn't just happen overnight. It took a lot of time and energy, a lot of self-reflection. I was single for a good amount of time, where I learned that I needed, you know, who I am, who I truly am, and the man that I truly can be and am supposed to be. So it takes a lot of work. People will be like, oh God, when am I going to find the right man? When am I going to find the right woman? It takes a lot of work, you know, and those healthy relationships aren't always perfect. Just like you were saying.
There's no perfect relationship.
Never.
That is just the new generation and their quotes on Instagram of like, if it hurts, it's not love. Like, that makes no sense to me. Love hurts sometimes. And sometimes I said this on one of my tweets a couple of days ago. Sometimes love and pain are one and the same. And for example, in my experience, I love my partner and I also feel pain because we're in a long distance relationship. So it's not inflicted pain that he's inflicting on me. But it is a pain of like, when you want to be with somebody, when you miss somebody, that is sometimes love is like hurts, you get me? Because there's circumstances that you can't change. Yeah. So that's the reason why I think everything is a balance in life. And where there is love, there is going to be pain. If you think you're going to get into a relationship and not be disappointed, it's not realistic. Sometimes people disappoint you and they don't mean to. It doesn't mean that they love you any less. It's just life. It's just reality.
I think in its purest form, love is also vulnerability. And when you are vulnerable to somebody, that opens you up to pain.
To pain, yeah. Saying.
And so it's not always good. It's not always sunny. And you're giving this person the power over you. You're giving them power over you.
Like direct access.
Exactly. Because if they're bad, if they say something mean, it's going to affect you. So you're giving them power, obviously. But ultimately, that is where love comes to. It's a good and bad. It's not always positive. That's what you have to remind yourself.
Yeah, it's a risk.
It's a risk.
But if you go in there vulnerable and secure with yourself, I mean, it's still a risk, but you go in there knowing what you bring to the table and what you can offer. And all you could do is be the best version of yourself for that person.
Exactly.
And if you do your part with the right partner who cares for you.
And they're doing also their part.
They'll do theirs because they know that you selflessly want to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and that makes you happy to do that for their partner. And I think when you find that, I think that's very special because it's no longer, well, you know, I'm going to act a certain way because this is what I can be myself and I don't have to fight for anything. I don't have to beg or it just comes natural. And I think that's what's beautiful, but you also have to be willing to approach the relationship with that mentality.
Yeah.
And then that's where, and again, it comes into what you attract. Because if that's what you bring to the table, someone's going to come up to you and say, oh, no, too much. That's not that you're too much. They just can't, they don't have power over you.
Yeah.
You know, but you want to give power to someone who's willing to understand to then also be able to give you the power to them.
I always say this, it's like pouring into each other's cup.
Power to you. Sorry.
I understood what you meant. But that's why I said it's like pouring into each other's cup. Like I can pour into your cup and you pour into my cup. It's because we're both flowing. We're overflowing. So I have love within myself. You have love within yourself. We can exchange that love. But
you are love.
We 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 are though.
Yeah.
And I think when you lack self-love, essentially you create this codependency on the other person. And I've done it. Like that is what I'm here through my book and to tell people like I have done it. I have put my happiness outside of myself. I have not loved myself at times, and self-love is probably the biggest commitment you'll ever make in your life. Like loving yourself even when you're at your lowest point, even when you don't even understand yourself, you're like, okay, but I'm gonna love you because
even when you don't have anyone else.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself.
You can't.
That's so important. And it's the first step of any healthy relationship and healthy human connection. You brought something up, and I'm glad you did. You said long distance relationship.
You did say that.
You did say, hey, if I lost really person,
man. When you first said that, like I was like, man, the camera's probably catching. I'm really like,
wait a minute.
She said,
What do you mean by that?
What do you mean by that?
Because the last time we had you on, we talked about long distance.
Did.
And you
I
said,
was vouching for it.
Yeah.
You were open.
Because in my head, I was like, this is going to work.
You were skeptical, but you were open. I like that.
Yes, that is true. You were more open. You weren't really open to like a permanent long distance, but you were willing to. So I guess that's because Mystery Man is long distance.
What is
Mystery Man. You guys are funny.
Where is he at? In the UK or what is it?
Yeah.
I heard a couple of things.
What?
I can't say. No, I'm just kidding. I did some research.
Right, sources.
Yeah, sources.
He did his research before coming on the podcast,
yeah,
people.
of course.
It's good. That means that you did your job.
So what's up? Long distance. How often do you use? You were like in Europe for like a long time over the summer, no?
Well, yeah, that's why I said relationships are sacrifices and commitments. I did take some time away from home to be there, and obviously you cultivate the relationship in person. And the reason why I was skeptical is because I knew it was going to be hard, which it is. The reason why I also don't believe in permanent long distance is because I believe in foundation and stability. And sometimes, since him and I travel a lot, we see each other in different places. He comes to me, I go to him. There is a lack of stability, right? Of a foundation of like, this is home for us, right? Because his home is somewhere and my home is somewhere. So although this is our current situation, obviously the relationship needs to go somewhere where we have a foundation. And somebody needs to sacrifice, either you come over here or I go over there. Obviously, it's part of the journey. So you don't force those decisions. And I think it's what keeps me in the relationship feeling happy and freely, that he's not forcing me to go over there and I'm not forcing him to come over here. We just have plans of eventually we're going to be aligned where we'll have a foundation somewhere.
But you don't know where it's going to be.
No.
Could be in London or in Miami. Who knows?
Exactly.
Hey.
This is scary but exciting.
Yes.
It's also exhilarating. And you're young. You don't have kids. He doesn't have kids, right?
No kids.
Yeah. So this is the time to do it, if anything, right? What do you think?
How did this happen? On the other side of the world.
We met here in Miami.
Okay.
Is
he? I don't know if I can even say it. Is he a DJ?
Yeah, he's a DJ.
All right. Should we take that out?
Take it out.
I mean, you don't have to take it out. You can keep it.
He's
But small details.
Okay.
minimal. Because I still
Put
believe.
his address out there.
Yeah. Where is he performing next?
What's his name? What's
the
his name?
schedule? What are you spinning tonight? No, I don't care about all that. So wait, so you met him here, and then how long was he here when you first met him? Was he here for a while?
I'm gonna tell you the reality. Okay, we hung out probably like 3 times before he left back to the UK.
Oh, in a
matter of like a week. Okay. And then he went to the UK for like 3.5, 4 months, and then we just online dated for that time. Wow. Until we met up again.
So you guys were just kind of like talking?
No, we'll talk every day. Like every day, all the time of the day.
Okay.
6-hour time difference, no joke.
It's 5 hours, by the way.
Oh, right.
When the daylight savings.
That's true.
No, when I will say this, this is a good build up to this conversation. When two people want to make it work, it will just work.
Gus said the same thing.
I said it. There are extreme circumstances. I understand that. But I think the distance is a hard, yes. But I've been in relationships face to face that are harder. You get me? And that is where I'm getting to. I honestly think God put this in my life because I needed to learn how to trust somebody. Mm-hmm. And I still deal with a lot of trust issues just because of my past. And the fact that I didn't have my current partner, I don't have him in front of me, I am forced to trust them. Like I have to trust them. I have to believe that he is doing what he's supposed to be doing instead of the past of my toxic relationship of like being controlling that I talked about that in the last episode, which are bad habits. Like I was very controlling just because I had fear of being betrayed again or being cheated on again. And although I still have those voices in my head of that fear, I'm now able to be like, okay, I need to work through this because there's nothing I could do.
So in those past insecurities and that trauma, does it resurface to the point where it affects your behavior, where you say, hey, what are you doing? Why aren't you texting back? Have you found yourself in that position? Yes. And how do you respond to that?
I think it has resurfaced, but I was very open about what was wrong with me in the beginning of the relationship. Like I was very crystal clear. I've been myself from day one. So I don't think it comes as a surprise to him. And he has also helped me deal with those issues. So I'm not dealing with somebody that's neglecting them or telling me like, oh, there's something wrong with you. It's the opposite. He offers me understanding and empathy, which is what we've been talking about. And that is what helps me heal. I wrote that about the ending of the book. you will see it there as well. He's included at the end because he's a helping hand in my healing journey. And I believe in your path, you come across people that are angels and they come and help you heal and they have a purpose in your life. So that is how I view my current relationship. He's just helping me get through the past.
You had said on the first episode that we had the conversation of like, if they want to cheat, they're going to cheat. You know?
Agreed.
They'll do it whether you stress or not. And obviously you had said, this is like your first real relationship. So there's certain things that you're being helped on healing that maybe you haven't experienced in a healthy relationship. But it's important to, especially with your situation, like it's important to have that level of trust, because what's the point then? Mm-hmm. It's not like I can go see you if I don't trust you. It's, all right, I'll see you in a few hours. It's like, you got to book a flight.
But I will say this, I mean, you jumped in the deep end, because you had these trust issues. Now you're dating a DJ who travels a lot and who's 3,000 miles away.
God gives his toughest battles to his strongest. Okay, we're gonna refer back to that. Yeah. I am a tough cookie. At the end of the day, if since my issues were so big, I think you need to go to the deep end, because if you surface with the issues, you're really not gonna solve them.
I like that.
So I think because my trust issues were so big and just always flashing into my head, the journey said you're going to get the toughest battle so you can actually work through this. And it's still something that I'm going through. It's not something that I've already passed, because even though the issues still resurface, I don't dwell on the issue though. You get me? I just know like that's old programming. That's what I used to think. I used to think that somebody couldn't be loyal. Now I do believe somebody could be loyal. So it's a lot of self-reflection and self-work.
Key. Yeah, and sometimes you have to hold yourself back and be like, "Hey, this is the old me resurfacing, and I gotta."
Yeah, you're tripping out right now, bro. Yeah, I be looking at myself like, "You are tripping out right now. You need to relax."
I'm spazzing out.
But most of the time, I catch myself before I put it on my partner. And other times, sometimes I have little twitches where I'm just like, "Fuck."
Same, I have the same thing. Sometimes I have like my insecurities, and back then I would either blow up, or I would just kind of. Push it on the rug until it would become huge. Now I have that healthy discussion. I'm like, hey, and it's I never say, hey, this is because you're doing this. It's me, and it's my problem. But I'm trying to communicate that with you, and this is what's going on. And my partner is very responsible and very honest, and she's like, receptive. Hey, and then we'll walk through the issue.
Exactly,
and
I love that.
And you'll overcome that, and then it's
agree.
Move on with life.
I agree. I think I said it with over communication. I think it's a good thing, because as long as they're aware of everything that's going on with you, whether it's good and bad, there's no doubt of what's missing when you're not communicating. Because I know everything already. But damn, long distance, that's right. Like that.
Well, that's just your trauma showing right now, Viera.
Well, you
get me?
True.
It's a trauma for you. True. So, and I understand it.
True. You also said that, but you said that, you're a physical person in the sense like, you want to see them and stuff like that. So, with the distance, well, you when you had traveled to Europe, you were with him. Mm-hmm. So what's like next? How do you guys like want to play out the relationship? What's the idea?
I will tell you this though. I had big communication issues as well, just because I really didn't know how to communicate. Mostly I was just shout. And I think it's also what you sometimes see that you pick up on habits from as well. I didn't really know how to get my point across without bitching, right? Without being offensive, without bashing. So I think the times that we spent apart in the long distance relationship, taught me that I had to communicate, because like you said, he can't catch my face expression. He can't catch my vibe. True. Really, we're just communicating through a phone and through FaceTime. So I really had to overcome my ego, I would say as well, of like, I'm just going to be upset to like, okay, I'm upset. There's no way he's going to find out. So I need to communicate.
Yeah, because how is he going to know?
How is he going to know? There's no way.
Yeah, one thing that I'm going to tell you, and I want to make it a point here. If you approach with any issue with vulnerability, you're no longer now putting that issue on anybody else. Now it's your responsibility. So if I go to you, Marvin, no big deal, but I felt like this when this happened. Now, instead of me saying like, hey, why did you do this?
Yeah.
He's going to be like, whoa. But if I tell him like, hey, I kind of felt like this when you did this, man. And he's going to be like, whoa, that wasn't my intention. I don't want you to feel like that. Especially like for your partner. If your partner's telling you, hey, when this happened, it made me feel like this. And I know you probably didn't mean it, but this is how I felt. Now they're going to be thinking like, either, well, you're a dumb bitch, because no. But if they're cool, they're going to be like, baby, come on, are you kidding me? Like, I'm silly. So sorry. Yeah, like, what can I do? No, that's not. It's because that's how it is. And I like to tell that to people, because it's always like, oh, My coworker, man, me and my wife, we're not having sex right now. And I was like, all right, cool. What have you done for your wife? He's like, what do you mean? I tell her she's pretty when she looks good. I was like, okay, what else? He's like, well, yeah, sometimes we go out all the time. I'm like, yeah, but how does she feel? What do you do for her? What have you communicated to her outside of just the physical stuff? Like, make her feel like your wife. He had a huge, like a pretty big accident. And I was like, who was there when you had your accident? He goes, my wife. I'm like, you remember that moment? How did you feel when you saw her there? He says, man, I was the happiest person in the world. I was like, she was here for me. I'm like, okay. Does she still feel like that? Like, no. All right. What are you doing for her to feel like that? So it's like, it's also like that constant effort to kind of do stuff. Damn, long distance. I don't know about that.
It's no joke. How often do you guys see each other? Like,
we see each other a lot just because we've been traveling a lot. So
okay,
we have seen each other more than we have not seen each other.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, but essentially, like what I want to remind people that I'm here back on again is that there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I think through the book you're gonna be able to experience, right? Because even if you haven't gone through it, I feel like the book you're gonna be able to experience what being in a toxic relationship, coming out of it, and really choosing peace and choosing self-work at the end of the day. But it's all worth it at the end, you know? I think when you go through the tough part in the beginning, it's really hard, like we said, to see the ending. Mm-hmm. But I feel like that's what I want my book to do. I want people to, even if it's in the book and they're in the first chapter, to be like, okay, how do I get to the third chapter where she realized that all of this wasn't for her and she actually overcame and healed and I was in a much better position. That is... But I want people to learn from the book and take from the book, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I 100%. And it's also important that people realize healing isn't linear. It's not a straight line. You know, even though you read the book from chapter 1 through 3, that's not how healing works, right? So you're gonna go through different steps and different processes, and it's a progress and a process as well. So, great job on it, and I'm sure it'll help people out.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's important to fall in love with the journey as well. I mean, in the difficult times, because the light at the end of the tunnel will be there. Mm-hmm. But as long as you keep moving forward, no matter what your ups, it looks like it's going great, but then you'll have some downs where you feel like you're taking some steps back. Hey, it's part of it. Because if you had to step back for something, you're avoiding something that was in the way. Now you just keep climbing from where you're at now. Yeah. And falling in love with that journey to get to that point at the end of the tunnel, I think that's the beauty.
Well, how many years were in your book? Like, how long did it take you to gather all that you wrote?
So the book, my first book, I wrote it like this, like 2 months.
But how much content was in it? Like, how much years of experience and just knowledge did you put
It was probably like 2.5 years. That was encapsulated in 156 pages. And so, you know, some stuff of the book was written because I was writing blogs.
But that's also just that one book, because you have other books that have more years,
even more
invested.
100%. Yeah, I have 4 books now. One
other
of them
relationships that you've
it wasn't just one relationship. Every relationship that makes you who you are, and you learn from it and you grow from it. It's a lesson, and you know, I'm grateful for all of them. I'm not that person who says, I wish I wouldn't have met this person. I wish I would have never dated this person. You're never going to hear me say that. I have regrets, countless. I wish I wouldn't have done certain things and hurt certain people, but I did. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to say, oh, you know, like I can go back and change it. I can't. But the lessons that I've learned from it, I would never repeat that. And I think that is key.
That is the key, yeah.
But it's amazing how this, you know, little book can encapsulate so many emotions and memories.
Yeah, that's why I had asked you about how long it took you, because you said that healing is not linear. And think about it, I wrote that book in order, but there was many times that I went back and forth on it. You get me?
Yeah.
In my experience, I just divided it so that people could understand it, right? And experience it all divided. But I was simultaneously like living all those things almost at the same time. At the same time that I was heartbreaking, at the same time that I was healing. So a lot of the things in the third chapter were still written at the same time that I was in the toxic relationship. But it was me expressing myself and me actually like a pep talk. You know, it's like, you're going to get through this. You're going to be okay. Yeah. You're going to be fine. And people don't want to admit to it, but a lot of the time, like, you could talk to your mom, your dad, or friend, but if you don't talk to yourself and push yourself to do it, there's nobody else that can get you out of that toxic relationship. And to everybody out there who is in these toxic relationships and toxic cycles, it really is a choice to get out of it for yourself. Nobody's going to make that choice for you. God is not going to come down and be like, I'm going to remove you. Like, you need to make that choice of wanting to get out of it in order to break that pattern. If not, that's just going to be your life. And it's not that you're living wrong. That was just your choice of outcome for your life.
Yeah, you have to take that initiative. It's hard, you know, like from the outside speaking in, it's always easier said than done.
It is.
But being objective, you know, how we are, we can easily say without a doubt that it does get better. You just have to put one foot after the next and then just keep going. And then it just enjoy the journey, enjoy the process. You know, once you're out, it feels like it's never ending. But looking back in hindsight, I'm like, damn, I did that. I overcame that. And I'm sure you feel the same way. You're like, man, wow, like, I didn't think well, you knew you're going to be at the end
but
of
we're
the
speaking
tunnel.
from experience. I knew deep down inside, but I was just hoping. I was like, okay.
I was gambling. I was fucking.
I was just journaling like, yup, I'm going to get through this.
Yeah.
Tears on my notebook, but it's the truth.
You have to tell yourself and you have to believe it. It takes months, you know, and even now, like, because you can heal and you can move on and you can let go and you'll be happy in the next relationship. But there's always going to be moments that is sent a moment and a memory. You a certain restaurant you pass or a street, and it takes you back to that moment where you felt like you couldn't get out of or you couldn't let go.
Songs. Yeah. Songs are a big one too. You're like, oh, this part of my life was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, skip the song.
It made you, you know, that at that moment, that song that plays, it takes you back 5, 6, 7 years, and it's like, wow. But it's okay to kind of, I don't want to say go down memory lane, but to have those memories and those setbacks and
to make you feel grateful for the moment of now.
Yeah.
And you're happy, like you know, like it's all about the experience and, you know, like being happy for them. They moved on, you moved on. It's a new chapter in your life. And there's going to be many more chapters. And appreciating that's the beauty about it all, and the healing and the relearning and the forgetting and becoming a rebirth.
It is a rebirth.
And it's like
100%.
the person you are today in this chair is not the same person that we had
even
6-7 months ago.
Yeah, and that's not even that much of a long time if you really break it down.
It wasn't. And for us too, like, you know, some of our first episodes with the way we were talking and our dialect and how we're not the same person, you know, and
all the experience that we've had along the way of people sharing their stuff.
I have another question for you guys.
Okay,
you guys are both in relationships, right? Yeah. Oh, we're all taking on this. Love it. Anyways, go love. Anyways, do you guys feel like you manifested your current relationship or has always lived in your mind how this relationship would be? Like this ideal relationship or just a healthy relationship? Do you feel like you manifested it or like you knew exactly what you wanted your partner to be like? So you feel like you brought that into your life?
Yeah. It's a great question. I didn't really know what a healthy relationship looked like. Like because I didn't have parents to show me what a healthy relationship was like. Mm-hmm. I didn't have other, like I didn't really know it. So I had to go kind of learn on my own. But at the end, after I got out of my last relationship, I was really positive and working on myself. So I put that energy out there, and whether it was doing stuff for myself, and I feel like I spoke it into existence, meeting that person.
That's what I was talking about.
I didn't know who they were. I didn't know it was going to be the person that I'm with. I didn't even look for them, and that was key. Like I didn't look for another relationship. But it found me, and I think that's key. Like you can't be looking for certain things, but you have to be the right person. And the right person, if you bring out that energy, you'll attract the right people. I've truly believed that. And so the person I'm with now, I think I spoke that into existence. I manifested that.
What about you, Vera?
Tremendous.
Your turn.
Dude, it's tough because like the girl I'm seeing now, we have a lot of history. I've known her since kindergarten. And we rekindled once in college, but I was in a fraternity. She was in a sorority. We were banging.
Already a bad story.
Yeah. It was bad, but we've always had something, you know. Then when I was getting serious, I was still a fuckboy, but I thought I was getting serious.
I love accountability.
Yeah, she met somebody else, and they were together for a few years actually. Eventually it died out, and then earlier this year,
yeah.
I hope so. It was 2 years and we're still in the same position. That'd be bad. Yeah. So earlier this year, we kind of rekindled, but she had gotten out of the relationship a couple months later. So we had taken it very slow. I now am just completely different than what I was back then. Different mindset, different goals. You know, I want to feel comfortable. I want to be myself. I don't want to pretend to be somebody I'm not, but I also want to be able to have someone that understands me and is willing to mesh, just like you and this guy, who's willing to tolerate me. Because I could be too much to some people.
I could be a little annoying sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes, or maybe they just can't handle me. But the point is, with her, it's just a lot. It was very easy, and I needed that in my life. I needed ease. I needed simplicity. I didn't want anything complicated. I didn't want anything over the top, and neither did her. Like, she didn't want that either. She just wanted something that was simple. And we foundationally, we have something that's very special because we can literally do nothing. The other day, on Thursday, we went out and I had no idea where we're gonna go. We just started walking. We ended up going to this restaurant, and they had like this cool. Which, by the way, guys, you guys should all go. It's called Oche, O-C-H-E. It's on South Beach. It used to be Sibo Wine Bar. You guys know that Sibo Wine Bar? Nothing. Whatever. It's all the way at the end. But there's this place. You walk inside. It's half restaurant, but then they have darts. Think of Top Golf. How when you hit the ball, it lands in, and then you get points. It's with darts, and they have different games. It was so much fun. We had a blast. We didn't even know what we were gonna do that night. That is the type of person that she is. Like, it's just simple.
Go with the flow type of person.
But when we're together, that's all we need. And everything else is just added, like it's a bonus. That was difficult for me to find. Because I was always, I don't know if I was just more physical centric, just looking for someone who was hot and that didn't have anything, no substance. And not saying that she's not, she's very pretty. But
I get what you mean though. You were just in the past more stuck on the physical side than mentally of people. Now
what did I look like to people when they saw me with someone?
Exactly.
That's kind of how it was. What
external validation.
What are they going to say about the person I'm with? What are they going to say when they see me with them? Yeah. But now I just got over all that bullshit. I'm like, dude, like, what makes me happy? What do I want? I don't care about anybody else. They're no one in my life to dictate who I want. So not really to answer your question, but how I kind of fell into this, it's more so we rekindled and it just started making sense where life is so simple that we should just appreciate it for what it is. And I found that in someone else. And they make life that much like
easier for you.
And happier
pleasant.
For me.
It's pleasant.
I'll have the roughest day at work. And when I see her, I'm like, where was I again?
Yeah,
I'm here.
Awesome.
I'm here right now, And it was difficult to find, but that's what I got.
I think that's so important. Like, your partner is supposed to make your life easier. I see a lot of these people in relationships struggling, grieving, crying, fighting.
Or they go to their boys complaining about their partner, about everything.
It's like, bro, like, if you're not happy, leave. Like, what? Like,
it's true.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's not as easy.
It's not as easy, but it's your life. And if you're not happy, I have no sympathy, very little sympathy for people who, there's extremes and all that stuff. And I understand that, but your partner's supposed to accentuate your life. It's supposed to make your life easier and simple and not cause you a heartache and fights and agony and you go through life miserable because of your partner or whatever. I'm sorry, man. Like, fuck all.
Yeah,
that.
people reach out to me or I'll hear people vent about their partners and they talk shit about them. And I'm like, man, but why are you saying that? And then they were like, oh, they're your boys, you just open up and you vent to them about certain things. And I'm like, bro, the only thing I talk about my girl to my boys is like how happy I am and how cool she is. And it's like, that's what, literally, like before he got there, I was talking to my boys and I was like, dude, like the girl that I'm with right now, man, she's awesome. Like I have a good, like, that's what you want to be saying about your partner. Not like, oh, I'm unhappy. Like, she did this. It's like, I get it. It does happen. Yeah. But
if it's all negative,
but if it's all exactly, I was going to tell you, like, I would tell my friends, like, oh, I'm really happy. And if I have, let's say, you want to vent to your friend, you can vent to your friend as well. It also depends what you say. I always tell people this, like, I have become a more private person, I think, as I grow older. So that's the reason why I keep things private. I don't tell everybody everything. I think that when you're young, you're just like, oh my God, this is happening to me, blah, blah, blah. And then you give so many people the power over your life to give an opinion, to give what you should do. And the friends that I have now, like Sophie, most of the time when I speak on anything that I'm venting, it's not most of the time to get how to say, it's like to fix it for me. Because I just want to talk about it. That's it. I don't want her to tell me like, you should do this, I should do that. It's just, let me talk. And then I'll let her talk. And it's exchange of energy to feel comfort, to be like empathy. But most of the time, I don't want you to fix what's going on with me, even if it's not to do with my relationship. I'm just expressing myself. Yeah. I don't necessarily need you to give me a solution. And sometimes that's what's like wrong in relationships and friendships. Like, you vent to them and they're like, oh, well, you should do this and you should do that. It's like, I'm not asking you what I should do. If I ask you, thank you. But if I'm just venting to you, like, I don't want you to resolve this for me. Let's just be a friend to me.
Yeah. You also just have to be careful who you share that with, because it's their responses, whether you want it or not, they're going to have their, yes. Oh, well, you don't deserve that, girl. You deserve this. And then let's say you had an argument with someone.
And you had an amazing boyfriend.
You had to know, not even that. Well, true. But let's say you're with someone and I'm arguing. I'm like, oh, this bitch, she's so stupid. And then tomorrow I post a picture that I'm with her happy. It's like, bro, why did you really have an argument? Or like, what, like you're wasting your time. You're wasting my time. Like, that's where I don't see it. It's like, think about what you got. Keep it private. Because once you start sharing that information to other people, now you're making yourself look like a fool with whatever outcome comes out. So it's important you keep it to yourself.
I agree.
Yeah, when I have people come to me and they're trying to vent or whatever, or give, they have their problems, I always ask, do you want me to give you advice, or do you want me to just listen to you? I can do either, but you have to let me know what you want. The same thing with my partner. Sometimes you come home, you don't want advice from your partner or your boyfriend. You just want to be like, work sucks. I had a terrible day. I don't want a solution.
Well, what happened at work then?
Yeah, what did you do?
What did you do?
No, I don't want to hear that shit.
Just listen to me vent. You're making it worse.
When people vent to me, I circle them back to themselves. So it doesn't matter where the conversation goes. I just circle it back to, okay, so what do you want to do? Yeah. What do you think is best? Okay. Well, yeah. It's like, oh, what would you do? I would tell them what I would do. But then I'll always be like, but that's what I would do. I don't know if that works for you. And I always say that because I'm like, I don't want no blame in this game. But
Thalia told me.
No. And I should do this. The worst decision ever.
I'm a good friend, actually. I think I give pretty good advice.
Oh, man.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't know how much time we got now, but too much. But
we don't have too much. What time is it? No, we should start wrapping it up.
Oh man, what a great! I mean, it's funny because it's always refreshing having you on because we could keep, we can go on for another hour.
Literally,
it's such a good energy to have you on.
Thank you.
Spreading your positivity and I know your book is going to do amazing, and I'm super happy and excited for you, especially as a fellow writer. I know it's a special moment. And for me, like the days leading up to weeks and months leading up to publishing a book, it's a lot of stress, but I love it. Like
me too.
When I publish a book, it's like I have a million things. I have 2 jobs.
Well, you've published 4 books. I'm in shock. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, we're at the same time.
Yeah, but still, I'm on one, and I'm like, oh my god, the marketing. Oh my god, what am I gonna post? Oh my god.
I love all that stuff. I mean, for Grant, like I was late. Like one of them was during COVID. I was laid off. Like I was at home. It was the peak of COVID, the pandemic. I was at home. I was writing every day, and then before that, I was always writing. But and you make time for it. But I love all that. Hit the photo shoots and the edit.
I did that today. Actually, all day today was for my book.
I love
this
it.
for this.
I know. Thank you.
So exciting.
First time of my
yeah. So hitting up Larry, like, hey Larry, I have this idea, and that's like my creative arch, like. Getting loose and like flowing, and I'm like, I just want to create stuff and make this happen. So
not just that, but you're also like getting shit done.
Yeah,
you're like so caught up with, man, I gotta do this, but it's like, why am I doing all of this?
Yeah,
for what I'm creating for me, for what I'm look at this.
Yeah.
Well, I think what this book has challenged me to, I'm pretty sure you had the same experience. Like this book has challenged me to break out of my shell in certain ways. Like I told you, expressing myself and showing my vulnerability to people, knowing that I've hurt, that I've cried, that I've also been in sorrow. Like that was a big shelf to break, because I had to show myself to the world exactly how I really am, how God made me, because I'm just human and I experience everything that most people have experienced. We have too, and even now that I've already written the book, I'm now breaking the shell. For example, when I was creating my photo shoot of showing emotion that I have and of acting, of new talents that this book has brought to life for me. And I think one of them right now is literally acting for the campaign shoot. I think it was challenging for me. I think I had this, like I told you, the Carmen, like I was very outgoing and like I'm loud, and in reality I have found myself again and I'm not that person. Like I'm very shy. Like now I go out and sometimes I have like social anxiety. I'm like, oh my God, I'm really out. There's so many people here. Yeah, and it's like, what's wrong with me? I'm like, I used to be like the life of the party, but it was really just because I used to consume so much alcohol because I was caught up in certain things that were really just not really breaking my shell, just masking who I really was, which I'm a shy person sometimes. I'm like, doesn't even, it's like a new self that I'm like grasping into, and I'm like, wow, this is really who I am. Like I'm not who I thought I was, which is what the book also reflects on.
Yeah, it's a beautiful journey of re-identifying yourself and giving yourself, and because people hold you to certain standards, how you were in the past. I'm sure people that you've known years ago or 4 years, hey, you used to do this. What happened to you? That was 3 years ago. That was 4 years ago.
Like, why are we talking?
Yeah, that's Carmen. Yeah.
That's literally me saying anything. I'm like, that wasn't me. Guys.
Yeah, like, things change. We change. We adapt. We learn. We re-identify ourselves, and I think that's the beauty in life. That's just because that's who you were a year ago, yesterday, 2 years ago, whatever, doesn't mean that you have to go on through life being the same person.
I agree. And you do not let people define you. People will, when you're at your highest, people want to become your lowest moments. Like, oh yeah, now you're this, but you used to. Why? Does that matter?
Wow, look who you are. Remember when you were back?
I hate that.
I'm like,
bitch,
bro.
Ain't nobody talking about that right now.
Well, that's why most of the time, like, I love that quote. It's like, oh, if you knew me, you don't know me now. And I do still put that out there. Like, if you have this perception of me of who I was 6 months ago, like, trust me, you don't know me because I'm nothing to do. I still have the essence of love because I feel like I've always endured that even through the pain. I've always just given out that. Like, I always give out the love even in places that I shouldn't have. And that is still the essence of the self now that I am. But I think my boundaries, my morals, my values, my goals in life have all shifted and for the better. And like your shirt says, like, God is good. I think the most conversations I've had is probably with God, and he's the only person that also can help you. And just, it's a helping hand through this journey of having faith in whatever you believe in. It doesn't have to be God. It can be the universe, whatever you call the Most High. But I think the closer you get to that source, the stronger you'll be and the more at peace you'll be with your journey.
Yeah, when you know who you are and what you're meant to do in this world, what everybody else says about you is irrelevant. I know I'm true to myself. I know I'm true to this, what we're doing, and you're true to your writing and your creative art and who you are as a person. Who cares what somebody said you were doing 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever? That's the version that you're holding yourself in your head about me. That's not my responsibility. I can't tell you how you should feel about me, but I know who I am.
I have peace of mind.
I'm me, and I have peace, and that's all that matters.
Agreed.
I was gonna.
Cool. No, I want to. So I do want us to wrapping it up. But before we obviously have our final thoughts, so I want you to, wrap up everything that we talked about. Final thoughts moment, something you live by, whatever. But I also want you to one last time, promote the book as much as you can. Promote yourself. So say everything you got to say.
Pass me the book.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay, so I think wrapping up everything that we have talked about, that could relate to my book, Too Much by Thalia. It says, deep inside the relationship, poetry, and Thalia Dominguez. Essentially, you're going to get an insight of my path, of my journey until now, until a couple months ago. And my intention for the book, I'm always going to mention it here and is for it to be a life source for people. I want it to help you. I don't want it to make you feel like I'm ahead of you, because I'm really not. Just because you're going through the toxic relationship now, or just other circumstances, doesn't mean that I'm any better than you. I think we're all the same. I think what makes us different is the path that you choose for yourself. So it doesn't mean that I'm better than you. It's just I chose a different path than you. But my book is a reminder that you could choose better for yourself, and you could have that good relationship with yourself. You can love yourself, and you will find somebody that believes just like you in love, and you won't have to settle for less. Don't settle. That would be like my final thing. Like, don't settle if you know deep down inside that's not what you're meant for. And that's something that I hold on to this whole time. I knew I was destined for more. And I know that I'm destined for everything that I want. And I just go after it.
Love that.
Ooh, you heard that?
We'll
give some of these. We'll translate over that. I got you, girl. Awesome. With that being said, man, it's so refreshing because and we're a little bit of a slight sidetrack. It's funny because like when I had you on, a lot of my boys are like, "Yo, Thalia's hot as fuck," but I'm like, dude, if only you were able to get into her mind, dude. Yeah. Because when you came, because you're a very beautiful girl, but when you come here and you actually start speaking, it's like, what is in her head? And the fact that you spent like a little over an hour here, and then you wrote a book, and I encourage everyone, follow everything that she puts out, because aside from a pretty face, she has a great heart, but a very deep mind. There's a lot going up there, extremely creative. And who she's worked for, I told you before, the photographer they worked for, I always forget his name, but you really do create art with everything that you do. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. It was an honor.
Thank you, homegirl on the side. Yeah. We don't know who she is, mystery woman, Sophie. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
With that being said, it is time to break up. So to wrap things up, I know it's over. Please like the video down below if you made it this far. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Ring the notification bell on social media: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and
Spotify and iTunes.
We're missing an Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. It's whatever, you'll figure it out. Spotify and iTunes on the way. Coverbreakup.com website. With that being said, Thalia, XOTAO.
Thank you so much.
No, thank you guys for having me, and I look forward to next time.
Hey, until next time. Ciao, guys.
Later, guys.
Bye.